All right, we got another really good speaker for you. This guy is pretty well known in the recovery community. He's really well known as SL Manny Boy. And I love it because, there you go. And I love it too. If you guys have ever seen him perform, he brings his daughter up on stage and she gets up there and gets the jiggy on really, really well. So I love it. All right, so Manny Lopez. Manny Lopez spent his youth in foster care and detention. He joined a gang and spent 20 years in and out of prison. When Manny's daughter, Serenity, was born, he began to search for a better way to live. Manny chose to be jumped out of his gang on the main yard in prison. Even though he was beat up pretty bad, spiritually and emotionally, he never felt better. Manny is a recovery coach, a mentor, a clinical mental health intern, and program director for this new thing that's really taken off, Level Up IOP. He works at-risk youth and people struggling with addiction. Manny speaks and advocates from a principle centered on compassionate approach to recovery. How do we fight despair and learn to meet the world with a loving heart? Manny shares lessons that we can all learn from. So let's focus on the topic of personality versus character. So please welcome my good friend and somebody that I look up to and really appreciate, Manny Lopez.
What's up, y'all? So real quick, before we do anything, before I say anything, I just want you to focus on me, okay? Not the mic, not the slides. This is not a speech. This is an underdog story. My topic today, second chances. How many people here feel like second chances matter? How many people have had a second chance? And another second chance? And another second chance? And another second chance. When I was 9 years old, I was taken into foster care because my mother was addicted to drugs and couldn't take care of me or my 4 siblings. It was supposed to be a new beginning, right? However, a lot of the foster care homes that I was in, I dealt with a lot of abuse. Mental, physical, emotional abuse. Failed adoptions. I'd go up for adoption, and nobody would take me. See this? For those of you that are old enough to know what a Wednesday's child is, this is a Wednesday's child. That's me. For those that don't know what a Wednesday's child was, a Wednesday's child was a kid in foster care that would be advertised on the evening news up for adoption, pleading for a family. For me, that family never came. When I was 12 years old, after dealing with all the abuse, I said, enough is enough. I'm going to figure out life on my own. I stole a bike from the bike rack at school. I was living in a foster home in Lehigh at the time. And I rode that bike from Lehigh on Redwood Road all the way back to Salt Lake. It took me all day. Now, I've always been pretty good with directions. I've always been pretty good with numbers. And so I knew about where my grandmother lived, and I remembered her phone number. And I called and they asked for my mother, and my mother was there. Now, during this time that I was in foster care, my mother had continued her drug use, continued her codependency and toxic relationships. And so I went right back into that. I started using with my mom. I was homeless a lot of the time. I slept on park benches. I ate out of trash cans. When I was 16 years old, I was certified as an adult. Not because I was grown, but because the system had given up on me. I went to prison at 17. I gravitated right to the gang that I was familiar with. I did a lot of things that I was uncomfortable doing or I didn't want to do. I had this really deep embedded thing in me. It was a need for love, approval, and respect. I would get out of prison for my first time when I was 23 years old. So certified as an adult at 16, went to prison at 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I got out to the same environment, same opportunities, same crowd. So I did a lot of the same things. I just wanted to belong. I was searching for what we all search for, right? Connection. The opposite of addiction is? Connection. But connection to specific things, right? Because I was connected to the streets. I was connected to the toxic relationships. I was connected to the drugs. But it's connection to specific things. For me, it's connection to community. I need community. And so I would continue to go in and out of prison. In and out of prison. In and out of prison. I'd get out, I'd go right back. I'd get out, I'd go right back. Mugshot after mugshot after mugshot. 2017, my daughter was born. Her name is Serenity Truth Lopez. If you've been to any of the events that I'm at, you see her on stage with me. She's the most beautiful, amazing, smart, stubborn little girl I have ever met in my life. And I remember when I held her for the first time in the hospital. I was out when she was born, holding her for the first time. And I remember thinking, this is everything I've been searching for my whole life. The family, the connection, the love. It's pure. It's right here. And I made this commitment to her, like, I'm going to do everything I can to protect you. I'm going to save you. You're not going to go through what I went through. And then I left the hospital. I went out to my car, immediately started getting high again. And I had meant every single thing that I said to her. Shortly after that, I went back to prison. This time was a little bit different. I'm like, okay, I want to be a father to that little girl. What do I got to do? I got to get out of the gang. So I hit the main yard. This is the old prison, Draper, and let my gang know, hey, I want to go be a father. Now, normally how our gangs work out here is if you're in good standings and you want to go be a man of God or you want to go be a father, they'll give you that chance. You know, as crooks, we usually give a person a way out. Unfortunately for me, my gang didn't want to give me that opportunity. They said, get with the program. I said, no, I don't want to get with the program. I want to go be a father. They said, no, get with the program. I said, I want to go be a family man. They said, F your family, get with the program. Now, for me, that was something that I couldn't accept. There's no way that I could have said, okay, F my family. I'm with you guys. Let's go do all this. I couldn't do it. And so I forced their hand. On the main yard, I punched the guy next to me, and I forced them to jump me out. And they beat me pretty bad. They stomped me pretty bad. This was the worst beating I've ever taken in my life, to the point when I was on the ground, they were kneeing me in the head. I was knocked out. They were kneeing me in the head. And other gangs on the yard stepped up, spoke up, and said, hey, he's had enough. I stayed out on the yard an extra hour so they could go in, wiped myself off, lumped up. And I remember as much physical pain I was in, emotionally and spiritually, I'd never felt more freedom. I had finally done some hard work. And so for me, I can't just think my problems away. That's not how it works for me. That's not what my recovery is. I need hard work. I need structure, direction, purpose, discipline. I need all those things constantly. I have to constantly be doing those things for me. Well, that was one of the first hard things that I'd ever done. Now, I thought my life was going to get miraculously better after that, right? Do you think it did? It did not, because I still had my destructive thinking, my destructive behaviors. I still had this addiction. I still had the codependency. I still had the need for acceptance. And so I would get out and go right back. Get out, go right back. And it just kept going on. More mug shots. How many chances does it take? If you ask the system, if you ask some people, they might say one. You ask some other people, they might say none. How many chances should we get? If you ask someone who has lived through it, who's clawed their way out of addiction and codependency and toxicity, if you ask me, my answer is as many times as it takes. In 2019, I met the woman that I go on to marry. And I met her in a motel room. She was selling drugs. I like drugs. And I was immediately attracted to her because I can recognize now she was damaged just like me. My codependency was so extreme, get this, so extreme that I would go on the run from the halfway house to spend one night with her, knowing the next day I was going back to prison. But something was different. This woman wrote me, answered my calls, was there, refused to let me do this time alone by myself. I was so used to that. So for her to do that was game changer. I did 4 months on that parole violation, got out. You stuck by my side, I'll do whatever for you. I'll sacrifice everything for you. That's how much I love you. I was supposed to go to Odyssey House. Shout out to Odyssey House. But instead, I went and saw my PO and said, hey, that's a bad address. I can't go there. Here's another address. Manipulated my way. We walked out of AP&P thinking we're the smartest people in the world. And immediately went on the run. We became the 2019 version of Bonnie and Clyde, running and gunning from Utah County up to Logan, all through the Salt Lake Valley, out to Tooele. Our relationship was one where we loved each other, we hated each other. We ran to each other, we ran away from each other. We chased each other, we robbed each other, we abused each other, right? All those beautiful things we love in addiction. And on one of those times where I was either running away from her or running to her, I was in a stolen vehicle driving on the wrong side of the road in front of the Murray Hospital on State Street and Vine Street, trying to pull into the liquor store because I couldn't get my hands on any meth, heroin, bath salt, or fentanyl, the things that I really wanted. But I was going to settle for a bottle of whiskey. I missed the turn, went through the intersection, T-boned a van. Somebody pulled over to help. I brushed this guy aside, jumped out of the stolen vehicle, jumped in his vehicle and tried to steal his. Luckily for everybody involved, he had taken the keys out of the ignition. I passed out in his vehicle. I woke up in the hospital. I passed out again. Woke up in the backseat of my parole officer's vehicle being driven back to prison for the 11th time. And for me, that's where I had my aha moment. My realization that I can't blame anybody anymore. I finally took accountability for once in my life. I couldn't blame the foster care system. I couldn't blame my mom for not being a mother. I couldn't blame my dad for not being there. I couldn't blame anybody. I couldn't blame my parole officers. I couldn't blame my wife, who wasn't yet my wife. I had done it to myself again. Now, my daughter was 3 years old at the time. I had left her with her grandmother. I had become the father that would show up with arms full of gifts and was filled with so much guilt, shame, and embarrassment for being a deadbeat father, a terrible father, not a father. I did not deserve the title of a father. And I'd show up giving gifts and deal with so much guilt, shame, and embarrassment that I would run right back to the streets. I couldn't stay longer than an hour or two. And so she's 3 at the time. I'm going back to prison. I call, she's starting to talk. She's saying, Dad, where are you? And it dawned on me how selfish I was because I had had a choice. And I realized in that moment, I set the example for the type of relationship she's going to get into. And if I'm in and out of prison, in and out of the streets, in and out of toxic, abusive relationships, the likelihood of ending up with somebody like that is very, very high. Now, I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew that I was going to do something different. I couldn't control how much time I was going to get, but I could control what I was going to do at that time. I got myself into a drug program called Conquest. Shout out to the Conquest program. I had been to that program many times before for the perks only, not for self-development or improvement, for the easy time. But this time was different. Any self-help book I could get my hands on, I got it, I read it, I devoured it. I was hungry for knowledge, explicit knowledge. I read this book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It is a game changer, was a game changer for me. If you haven't read it, read it and practice it. 18 months it took fighting my case. I pled it down to 1 to 15 years, 0 to 5 years, ran back to back. It's consecutive, meaning that's like a 1 to 20 year sentence. Went before the judge, presented myself as a changed man. Let him know, Your Honor, if all you want to do is give me time, that's all you're going to get, because I have programmed and programmed and programmed. And any certificate I can get, I've got it. Anything that I can do, I've done it. And he looked at me very intently for a good 20 seconds. That felt like 20 minutes. And he said, Mr. Lopez, you're right. All I can give you is time. And time has not served you well. All you've done your whole life is time. So I'm going to send you to prison. My heart sank. He said, but I'm going to suspend the sentence, and I'm going to give you 36 months probation. And like that, my life changed, because somebody I least expected to see anything in me was willing to give me a chance, a second chance. I got out. Beautiful part of this story. The woman I would go on to marry had decided enough was enough for her as well. She went to Odyssey originally, realized she has too much male trauma for Odyssey and needed an all-women's program, got herself into the House of Hope program. Shout out to the House of Hope program. She was getting out of residential when I was going into residential at Odyssey House. She had these really cool things I wasn't familiar with called boundaries. She said, if we're even going to attempt to talk, you're going to go into your program and focus on you. I'm going to go into outpatient and focus on me. And I respected her for it. I went into Odyssey House. I ran an honest program. It was difficult because I'm from this city, and I know all the people coming in and out of prison. I know all the people coming from the streets, from the jails. But I ran an honest program. I did something right for the first time, from the beginning to the end. A lot of people didn't like it when I was there. I walked alone for a while in there. I'd walk down the hall as people like, watch out, here comes Manny. And it hurt me so bad. And I learned in that time that I felt loneliness and isolation. That loneliness and isolation is when a caterpillar gets its wings. And I changed the environment of the house. It was a healthy house when I left. I cried my way out. I didn't want to leave because I was somebody there. I had to go out in the world where I was a nobody. My wife, who wasn't yet my wife, picked me up. I said, can I just stay another hour? She said, no. Grab my bags, threw them in the car. Let's go. We didn't know each other healthy. It was awkward. Our first kiss was awkward. Holding hands was awkward. Being around each other was all awkward. We applied everything that we learned in treatment. I was working construction cleanup at the airport. She was a server for Buffalo Wild Wings. And it wasn't what we wanted in life. We wanted to work in recovery. We wanted to help our people. We became certified peer support specialists through USARA. Shout out to USARA. Started shopping ourselves around to different programs. Got an interview at Papillon Integrated Recovery Center. Shout out to Papillon. Started working, started building. We were house managers, got into school, became clinical interns. She just completed her bachelor's, goes into her master's. I'll do mine at the end of this year and go into mine. Therapists, we're gonna be therapists. We basically are already, right? Met this really amazing person named Portia Louder. Shout out to Portia Louder. Changed my life. Started this program called Level Up IOP. It was so scary to gamble on myself. But I knew I have so much value. And so when I speak on second chances, I speak on this because, listen, every single one of us has the ability to be a lantern to those that are lost in darkness.
Most people think recovery is just about quitting, but that's not the real battle. The real battle is breaking the cycle before it breaks you.
I remember them days. When they were like, you'll never amount to anything.
They really told me that.
But I stepped up and said, I'll challenge that.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, let's get it.
Let's get it.
I've been homeless. I've been in toxic relationships. One where I was abusive, and ones where I allowed myself to be abused. I was deep in a cycle that convinced me that there was no way out.
At it again, yeah. I'm gonna win, yeah. I'm gonna win.
The last time I got locked up, it was my 11th time back in that same cage. I had just crashed a stolen car, tried to take another one, and blacked out from my injuries. Woke up in the hospital, then woke up again, cuffed in my parole officer's car, being driven back to prison. 11 times, 11 chances. Somehow the 11th one was the one that changed everything.
I had to unburden everything they said I couldn't.
Second chances are everything, because sometimes it takes 11 of them before somebody finally breaks free and builds a life that matters. That's why Level Up IOP exists, to bridge the gap between therapy and peer support, between surviving and thriving. We know what it's like to fall and to rise again. But Level Up IOP isn't just a program, it's a movement, a community built by people who have lived struggle, fought through it, and come out stronger. We bring the program to the people, literally. No matter what part of the state you live in, we meet you where you're at, whether it's virtual groups, individual sessions, or direct collaboration with probation and parole. We help men and women reclaim their freedom. We help mothers and fathers reintegrate into their children's lives. We focus on a key component of re-entry after incarceration, giving people the support they need to move forward without looking back.
My name Bruce Lee, so put 'em up, put 'em up, put 'em up, put 'em up. If you gon' win, came from the bottom and we at it again. Come back, kids, and we came with the drift.
At Level Up, we turn lived experience into action. We prove that transformation is possible because we've lived it.
All on the grind and we destined to win.
We
Destined to win.
We destined to win.
Put your hands up high.
Put your
You
hands
destined
up
to win.
high.
Put your hands up high.
Put your
You
hands
destined
up
to win.
high. What up, Zevski?
What up?
I see you saving lives at the other side.
What up, Manny? It's time to level up.
If you think second chances don't matter, stick with me. I'll show you why they do.
Yeah, at it again, yeah. My life's a win, yeah. My life's a win, yeah. My life's a win, yeah. At it again, yeah.
Demons at night, now I'm breathing. The light found meaning in the
This isn't just a program, it's a movement. It's proof that nobody is beyond redemption. Some people only need one chance, some need 11, and some need even more. But you never know, because that 11th chance, that might be the one that helps change the world. And if nobody's told you this today, you matter. This world is a better place because you were in it. And I am so blessed that I get to share space with you. Love y'all.
I'm gonna win, yeah. I'm gonna win, yeah. I'm gonna win, yeah. At it again, yeah. My life's a win, yeah. My life's a win, yeah. My life's a win, yeah. At it again.